take advantage of it. We ready?
Yep.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, so first on the agenda is to review and approve the revised agenda.
I so move.
And I will second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. On to consent items. We only have the July 15th board minutes.
I move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, on to issue form. Warren,
Oh. Okay.
or should I call on Paul first?
Well, mine's very brief.
Well, okay, let Paul go first.
I have zero. I've been visiting. Visiting. I've been on vacation. I went to the lake. Good place, right? So I have nothing. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
I have to see what I
Should I
didn't.
keep talking a little more? Warren?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have West Central coming up next Monday. So, and then,
Okay, I had, well, at Tri-County, I did this last month.
yes, you did.
Okay. The ATP meeting on Thursday got canceled, so I don't know exactly why, but it did. And I have nothing else other than that we had some exchanges on the water district, but you can count on that.
Yeah, I can be. Should be, okay. Yeah, I received an email from the Marshall Polk Rural Water Service that they approved the MOU and that they were reviewing a draft resolution I had put together with the attorney to address some of the issues that came up in the discussion Warren and I had with them a couple of weeks ago when he's Grand Forks. I have not heard back from them yet, but they don't meet again until August. So I have not seen the signed MOU, but we'll kind of wait and see. It's really between them and West Central, but it's kind of a party to it, I guess. But otherwise, there's been nothing more on that.
Yeah, it sounded good what you sent us in the email. I like that. That was a step forward.
Yeah.
I thought it addressed what they asked for. I was thinking, well, you would do the resolution, then you would do the MOU, but with the MOU, so. Okay.
Looks good. Sounds good.
Well, will we have that ready for our
No,
board meeting on Monday?
no. It'll be in August. They don't meet till August, right?
Well, he's talking about West Central.
Oh.
You're referring to Marshall Polk. Monday will probably be a discussion whether West Central has heard anything from Marshall Polk.
Sure.
I'm not aware of it, but I did pass along to them what Marshall Polk had done. Okay, good. So we'll see. I should be there on Monday for that. And then I think Marshall Polk's next meeting is it August 18th?
It's a Monday.
August.
The 18th is a Monday.
Yeah, I can't remember what day they meet, but I think it's the third week of August that they meet. So we may not see anything until.
Yeah, and I see Lucas sent out a notice that he had sent Paula Engelstead a welcome. So hoping to see him tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be great. Then we would have our 4.
Yeah, it'd be
The only
good.
thing I could bring up is I did go out to the fair. I mean, I briefly saw you walk by.
Yeah, on the way, I seen you there just for a second. I seen you for a second,
Yeah.
but I didn't see Gary.
Yeah.
I assume it went well.
Oh, ecstatic. It was good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. At least we didn't have what's happened the last few days.
Oh, right. At night, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Went good. Really
So,
good.
Yeah. Anything else for you?
No, that was all I could do.
At least you're truthful. Okay, so let's see. Oh, last Wednesday, I had a just um, the AMC members for the MAFPA, just kind of you know, keeping everybody kind of in the loop and just kind of like updates and stuff of what's been going on with the state work group. And then I went from that to there was a SNAP informational meeting in regards to what it's going to look like at the state level with the federal cuts and stuff. I wasn't able to stand. Well, I was able to stand that for most of it, but then I had to go to. I had an AIS meeting, and so this summer now we've had 2 full-time inspectors and 1 part-time. But now the end of July, one of the full-time is going to be leaving. So we're just going to have 1 full-time and 1 part-time. But Jake figured, it was going to be okay. So as of, well, it would have been July 6th, which was almost a month ago now, or 3 weeks, they had done 1,640 in-person inspections. So, that's pretty good. We had a lot of discussion too of where we've got the CD3 contamination unit at East Shore at Maple Lake. But then there was, discussion of being Union is the infested, that we should move it there. But then the issue is there's no room. So then it was kind of like, because the DNR owns property just to the north there, and if we could like do something there. But then kind of we decided, I think more or less to leave it at Maple Lake, but then looking at doing a different type of contamination unit, which would be hot water and to spray off boats and that type of stuff. Because there was a person from DNR that was there, and I think it was Douglas County that, and this was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, that they had done a little building, and then they've got a compressor and water heater, and they actually dug a well to
sure.
get water. But like Jake said, we could just, pull it out of the lake, heat it up, and then, and which would, the hot water then would help kill the zebra mussels. So, just really kind of trying to figure out, what we need to do. And then, well, it'll be coming up on our agenda that we did approve the grant request from Union and Lake Sarah for $7,500 to be used for their survey, just a combination of other things. And then I had Soil and Water District, and they had done the 6-month review on their new employee, and everything has been going really well for her, so that they did increase her salary. Spent some time of, we've had a lot of interest in soil health funding, and that's one of the things that is kind of unknown from the federal. I mean, supposedly they're supposed to get it like in August, September, but it's not written in stone. So then they're trying to figure out, if they don't get the funding, how they will pay for the contracts that they've already committed to and stuff. So, just spent a good share of time on that. And then yesterday, I had would have been the full state work group on the MAFPA, and then we did break into our smaller work groups, and still really struggling to come up with um, recommendations in regards to the act. Because all the work groups, we've all got questions about different things, and the people that are on these meetings with us from like DCYF don't know the answers. And so it's just kind of a back and forth thing. And, we've already delayed one of our reports that was supposed to be due now the end of July. We got extension to August 31st. So it's still just kind of a struggle. And then last night I went to the Union Lake Sarah meeting. Kind of gave an update, with the Eco Harvester. And then their annual meeting is going to be August 22nd. And it's going to be combined with the redetermination public hearing. So they figure that, instead of landowners having to go to 2 meetings, they can just go to 1. And so it'll be the Union Lake Sarah, their initial meeting, and then at 7:30, then it'll be turned over to the public hearing for the redetermination. And then also the engineer will be there to kind of give a brief idea of what they're looking at, maybe with the pump and the screen. And so this afternoon I'm headed to St. Paul because tomorrow we got the AMC Solid Waste Group is meeting, and then we're also going to do some tours of some of the facilities down in the metro area. So that's kind of what.
That's a Friday meeting, August 22nd. Right?
Oh, yes. And so it's going to be a potluck, and the potluck will be from 5 to 6, and then with the Union Lake Sarah meeting at 6. And so it's going to be at the Red Barn at the campground. So, but like I will not be there because I'm going to be in Hastings for AMC board meeting. So I want
Where
people
is at the campground?
at the Union Lake Sarah campground.
Oh, Union Lake.
Yep. So. So I guess that's what.
I don't know if I've ever been there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's kind of went back and forth about doing 2 separate meetings, or because just with the regular board meeting, there's going to be a lot of information and topics that need to be discussed, and then with the redetermination, it's going to be a long night. So.
And H2O reviewers are doing that.
Yep. Yeah. So that's, through the Sandhill watershed redetermination, then where the county has joined in on that. So. Do you want to do some of your stuff, Chuck, or?
Sure. It's relatively simple, but we can come back to it later too. How it'll appear to the.
Well, at least you're not coming with a cane or walker.
That was last month. All right, I have to figure out how to open up. So I've my item is a budget update, and we've been rolling out the Questica software to departments and working through some things. It's certainly got a lot of great potential. Stacy and I have had some good discussions on it. We keep getting updates with the folks that have provided this to us and help from Abdo. But I just want to show you what it looks like for a typical department head. I guess I'm in that bunch. I'm going to probably, seems like every time I go into this, I have to kind of start over a little bit. But when I get into the actual budgeting, it works relatively easy. How are you? I just want to show you the your own budget, the county commissioners, and as you will recall in those meetings that we have in September, department heads come in usually with many pieces of paper. There's handouts, there's discussions. We're looking at something in IFS that really has just numbers. It doesn't give a lot of explanation. So we're talking through a lot of the line accounts, what that is, what it means, whether it looks right, whether it doesn't look right. But right now, what Quesica has been able to do is pull data that finance and Abdo and the Quesica people have put together. So basic report looks like this right now, and notice that we've got the 2026 and 2027 budget already in there. It allows us to do multiple year budgeting up here. It can do longer, but we're really focused on 2026, but I think we're going to learn how to use prospective application.
Sure.
Yours is a relatively simple budget, but here's one of the things that I really like, and you'll see what this means. We've got the membership and dues here, so your AMC things. All I have to do is click on this, and I've been able to go in and actually put in specific items. Let's see, I guess I can't move that. So, for instance, Joan has mentioned that sitting on the AMC board, they changed the dues. And unlike in the past where I've had to plug in a number, then I can't remember where I put the piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Be able to actually go in and attach the what I received from AMC. So do is just open it. I don't need to open it anymore, but here's the actual notice from Julie Ring at AMC. There's our dues for next year. And I've already had one department head came in and commented. He says, I think we're going to be able to go paperless on this. Like, well, that would not only be terrific, but it would also mean that, we have it for reference going forward.
Yeah.
We can open up the software and look at the actual. I hope I can get out of it. Oh, shoot. Here we go. If I close that, I go down here. Here's one that's going to be a decision for you. The MPO dues, I put it in the same line account. We haven't had this before. Hey.
That's the request. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna. I've got it in there. It's for the board to decide. I don't know what the other three entities are doing, but they're changing director at the MPO. We don't have a record that we've done this before. To be honest, Warren, I know you're the county's appointee on there, whether you remember
No, not,
dues before.
It sounded like it was something new that they figured
Yeah,
they were benefiting.
yeah,
I have a little problem with it only because it's 15,000 for each of the 4 units, and counties are about 3% of the business. But they're asking for the same amount of money.
yeah.
You have a,
We're 0% of the business, but that's okay.
okay,
Because we don't have any roads within the urbanized area of the MPO anymore. So
Hmm.
it's the remainder part of their district that we have roads. in. So
mhm.
But we're good sports, right?
yeah, there we go.
Just how good, we'll find out
Mm.
as we go.
$15,000 worth of good sports.
Um, but as an example of how Quesica is working,
That's beautiful.
you know,
Yeah.
I can just put these in here and it just automatically tallies it up, puts it in. I can close it, and it's there, and it's there for us next year. Now I'm going to show you one more thing, Joan. I hope you don't mind if I use you as an example.
Uh-oh.
We can actually look up how each employee, in this case commissioners, look for next year. Here's your annual rate. Some of the things that come out. We've got insurance in there. We actually don't have these in right just yet, but those will get addressed. But we can actually go in and see specific information, kind of even on a monthly basis. I'm in some discussions because they've just simply taken the annual amount and divided it by 12. But for employees, it's payrolls every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just a matter of how do we want to use this? Do we want to use this from a budgeting standpoint? This will matter if we want to look at budget year to date along with actual expenses year to date.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Not the most critical type of report, but we've got the ability now to look at this and decide whether we want to do it or not. And there's some other information in here. It's a little too small to really read. And one of the things, I'll go back to the budget part. This is the one part I've got to work on here. Actually, it's easier to go out and just open it up again. No, it's going to want to stay where I left. I think it's this one. This is where I have to get a little used to where you can see the different types of reports. But I like this one because it just gives me context. But for the board, for the board members, health insurance for those of you on Medicare, that becomes a taxable benefit for 2/3 of the employee insurance costs. And those of you not on Medicare that take the county's health insurance, you get what the other employees get. So we've got to get this number correct. It's off right now, I think. But yeah, it's been very good to work with. I don't have a very complicated budget. The board's budget is not very complicated, but I think there'll be a lot less of a paper blizzard every time we sit down with department heads. And I think you're gonna like it. We've got a lot to learn. We still have to see how it compiles so we can figure out.
But it's easy to see and put everything in perspective rather than we would turn pages all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And for Gary and Joe, and I would give them a copy of the same three-ring binder that I try to keep, just so you've got something to look at for the August department meetings of the ones that I
Should be
run
smaller.
with them. But um, I think eventually, you know, everything I've been doing is going to be done in this because it can be shown, it can be
Mhm. Yeah.
kept.
And the one thing I like is how you just put in for the employee, like their union increase, and it just figures it up, and
Yeah.
which is nice because then you're where you look out, you know, in future years.
Yeah, that's the plan, and you can actually kind of see it. Maybe I'll open up. Uh, yeah, open up mine. Um, you can kind of see those already calculated in.
Mhm.
I've learned that right now, because we're updating Chronos to do payroll.
Mhm.
We've always had a separate Excel spreadsheet that staff has put together to cross-reference department
Mhm.
personnel expenses. That's being used right now for this.
Okay.
So hopefully at some point that'll get switched over.
Mhm.
But the data in Chronos has to be set up right so it can be extracted that way. But so far, so good. I'm noticing there's a few tweaks that Abdo has kind of worked with Questica on that, so the personnel stuff isn't to the penny precise, but it's probably workable from a budget standpoint until we can
Mhm.
tweak that a little bit. It's all there's so many things going on right now getting set up.
Yeah.
That this is just kind of where we're at right now.
Mhm.
It's so nice just to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I may, because of my limited eyesight, I may see if I can get it where the font is a little bit bigger. There certainly seems to be room for it,
Mhm.
but when we're working off this screen in this room, it's kind of small.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Anyway, that was what I was going to show you from the budget standpoint. I have one department head here. Yeah, I know. I don't know if you have any comments on Questica yet. I haven't talked to you about it.
Anything's better than nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Rich always figures out things first.
Yeah.
Finds what we have to improve.
I just wish this would have been done a few years ago when we first started talking about it.
Well, here's where we're at.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it'll still take a couple of years to really get this
Get
to
it
be.
up and
Yeah. Yeah.
fine-tuned.
But it's.
The only interesting part will be is how quick you can see year to date. Because even with bills going in, I think we're still gonna be a month behind, but at least I'll be able to pull it up whenever I want and see where I'm at versus expecting a form in the email. So,
Sometime a month.
if ever.
I will say, because I think we're going to have to keep this in mind for next year's budget, is the limitations of IFS are apparent.
Mm-hmm.
With certainly the new finance director, but I mean, we've kind of known it all along, but you can only do so much with it. And to what Rich is saying, I mean, we should be able to not only see things up to date to the minute. I mean, it's just your own bank accounts do that when you go online. By the time you get to your car, it's already in your account.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I mean, it's you got to find the right software. You got to kind of elevate the whole system, and it's one of a zillion things we're doing. But I do think that's going to be on the list for next year, how we approach it, how we do it, and then we've got to do something about the asset management. Rich has probably got the most complete capital improvement or capital outlay plan, just because it's kind of the nature of highways. But I know Abdo is working on collecting all the CIPs right now from department heads, and there's only a few departments that actually have
Mm-hmm.
these kind of things to worry about. But for that planning process. That's key.
Yeah. Well, even just for insurance purposes.
Well, yeah, keeping track for insurance, keeping track for replacement schedules.
Mhm.
You know, we talk about things like highway building,
Mhm.
and we know it's out there someday. But you don't wait until now you have to do it. You do it when you can do it, which will probably be sooner than that. But what's the optimum time to do it, and what's the lead time for it? So, there's a lot of things that go into that, but we don't have anything that really looks prospective other than what's in the department's office, the heads of the department heads, and what we kind of know is out there.
Mhm.
So,
A side note to all of this, is this going to increase our power needs? I know that,
will the software? No. Will highway garage? Maybe, I don't know, but there'll be. What are you getting at?
A new highway
no,
facility or what?
no.
Power because of all the computer
Oh.
use and
Yeah,
Oh, no, I think we're okay on that. This is just software. It's not hardware.
it's not operating systems.
Yeah.
I see all kinds of stories on the internet about our power system is, well, just
The
inadequate
grid
for
is, yeah.
all of this.
Well, those are for the data centers that
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're just they're huge and they will suck a lot of power and they're going to be the way of the world going forward.
Mhm.
But
Well, we have to generate enough power to operate those.
yeah, we're not we're
I
the
know.
counties are probably more on the side of planning and zoning for that. Not
Hmm.
we don't build those things.
No,
Mhm.
but the country's going to need more, and
Well, we'll make a note of it. You want April?
Yep.
Good morning.
Good
Morning,
morning.
April.
So I think you guys all got an annual report in your packet, right?
Mhm.
Well, I brought you pretty ones, so take one and pass them around. And then you also,
You want to man the mouse or do you want me to?
Sure.
You can go up and
Okay.
where you want.
well, maybe we should start with what's up on the screen then, because that's at the top. Yeah, that's your stuff. Okay, well, we'll start with these then. So again, thanks for having me every year. We come and try to communicate where we're at, what we're doing, and what the needs are. And since 2018, we've been coming here and asking for this levy to be renewed. I don't know if we need to go into it at all, because we come every year. The amounts that the percentage that we're asking for this year, for the first, they're listed here. We did reduce this third petition levy. We started doing that last year. Our board would like to reduce that again this year and kind of keep it the same. These are our major two funds: water quality and water management. Two different funds of money, and then the third one, we are reducing that a little bit, and I think that's a good position to be in. So
Mhm.
we would like the county board to consider
Do we
moving
have
forward with these three petitions this year again.
Each separately.
each separately?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Okay, so need a motion for the first one, which is the 154,629.
I move.
Okay,
I'll second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, and now petition number 2, which is for the same amount and for water management.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, and then on to the third one, which is for 100,000.
I move.
Second. Repeat.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So, I don't want to prolong this, but do you want to just mention why Sand Hill, for Paul, I wasn't here when we went to this approach? Can you just,
I think, did you explain it last year?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I can explain it again if you'd like.
Mhm.
that'd be good, I mean, people are watching.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can,
So how the watershed district operated before was when we were members of the Red River Watershed Management Board. There is with this joint powers agreement, we were able to levy what we would call the construction fund at the time. And how that operates is, I'm just going to throw out round numbers. If that percentage of that levy was $600,000, we would then levy that full amount of $600,000. The county would send us the 600,000. The watershed district would keep half of that and then send the other 300,000 to the Red River Watershed Management Board. And that was, they would use those dollars as a collective effort on the red. And then we would keep that local $300,000 for those three features that I just named in the petitions. Through the process and through budgeting and through lots of discerning, the board reached this as a solution. It helped reduce some taxes and helped us still keep operating locally and maintaining those three funds that we have. And so at the time, and we still do, we still keep a really healthy relationship with the Red River Watershed Management Board, and we still keep those discussions open about, what our future looks like and where we're at. So, and that was the promise that we made when we exited, and we still do keep that up.
Mhm.
So, I don't know what the future looks like for that, and if that's where we're leading, or if the board wants to choose to keep going on this path. But for now, this is keeping us operating and keeping the project on the ground. So.
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For our annual report, we are required by statute to do this every single year, and I just come every year and kind of present it to you. Ask if you have any questions. If you look in the annual report, a lot of talks about all of the things that are front and center at the watershed district for the last year. Kind of a little summary on that. Talks about the ditch maintenance that we went through. Has our administrative budget in there so that you can see where the dollars are being allocated. And then we do have those three petitioned levies in there and what those amounts were last year. We have our percentage of ditch levies. You can see all of our ditches, and that's also in the annual report. Some resources for the public about the laws that we have to follow for those ditches. Couple page article on the redetermination of benefits for the Sandhill ditch and the why behind that, and what landowners and taxpayers can expect with that. Our One Watershed, One Plan, we're very active on. I believe this summer we will receive, we're working through the process to get the second biennium allocation as well. So we'll be working through the work plans with that with our partners. And this kind of just talks about all of our partners that we have. That one of the major projects we did last year was the Moan erosion control. We did apply for a competitive grant with the Clean Water Fund to be able to obtain that grant, and that project did get completed. So we're really proud of that. And then it talks about our focus for 2025, which is probably what I'll just kind of highlight for you today. We have the Sandhill River ecosystem restoration. That's a huge effort that we're working towards. And that is essentially, in the region of the Sandhill Ditch. The project team is working on alternatives for solutions for multi-purpose issues that they're experiencing out there, from overland flooding to clean water issues, habitat issues, and all of the things that would go with a major capital improvement project. But it is a process, and it isn't a speedy one. So we're working through that. We still are heavily dedicated on all of our partners, from the state level to just the local government units. And we do a lot of interaction with all of our partners. This year, we are buttoning up 2 repair items. One is on this, both of them are on the Sandhill ditch. We did receive some HSEM funds for those, and any leftovers we'll be using our One Watershed, One Plan dollars to fill the gaps. There are 2 areas that that needed purchase on our buffer on Project 17, which is that Polk County 41 area. We are going to be working through that now with the redetermination process, so we won't have to do an incremental buffer law purchase for those. The boundary along 102, the construction will begin probably this fall to button that. If you remember, we revised our actual watershed boundary and worked with Red Lake Watershed District to do that. So Rich will be getting plans and specs for that. So will the highway department or the MnDOT. So hopefully we'll get that done this fall. That's the plan. And then one of the major things that we're really working through, and we're working in partnership with the Lake Improvement District, is the Union Lake pumping project. As you know, that they got zebra mussels out there. So that does affect the watershed district's pump that we have the jurisdiction of operating. The Minnesota DNR has revoked the permit for pumping. So the Lake Improvement District, luckily there's low water this year, so it hasn't been an issue. We haven't noticed any impact of not being able to pump, but we will have to work through that process, and we're going to go through that. And through that, we've also learned that also needed, it's not a ditch project, it's through Minnesota 103D. So we have to follow it. We're working through a different process to redetermine the benefits for that as well. And that should be wrapping up now this fall, just for that project. So we'll kind of see how that all shakes out for that. If you've driven through Fertile, you can see that we are finally making our building handicapped and ADA compliant. And so that's looking good. I was hoping to be in July 1st. That didn't quite pan out like all construction projects do, but I think in August we'll be wrapping that up and having public meetings accessible to the public. So that's good. Last year we only had 17 drainage permits. This year I think we've already exceeded that amount. So that usually we're in the 40s. So last year either there wasn't a lot of construction, or I'm not really sure why. And we will have our 50th anniversary. We were hoping to do an open house with our 50th anniversary and the building project at the same time, but that just kind of got extended till fall. So we will be having an open house for that sometime this fall. Do you guys have any questions on you guys all got the financial report, the audit? That's included in your packet as well.
Did you design this report?
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Oh, well,
I
thank
can
you.
tell.
Thank you. That's probably the funnest part of my job. I love to do that part of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks again, Paul. Has come to our board meeting. So anytime you guys get a chance to come to our board meeting, I think that's really good. Make sure we're on the right track. So, okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want me to use this?
I got
Rich,
Good morning.
good morning.
All right.
Let's see.
Need no black eye this week.
It's good. Yeah. It's funny what 2 weeks will do.
Well, I was
It was just
wondering
last
if
week.
you were going to come with a black eye on the other side.
Oh,
I thought that this morning.
no, I didn't. Chuck couldn't golf last night, so we had a super sub, my wife, and she played pretty well. I didn't have to say anything, so I didn't get
Clobbered.
another black eye.
Am I still on the team after this?
That's
Well,
what I was wondering.
We won, so I don't know. We'll
boy.
shake dice when we're
Okay.
all said and done. Let's see. Boy, she had a lot of stuff. There we go. Oh, what's the first one? Let's save that for the last.
Yes,
Next.
smart move.
So our current spray truck and spray equipment is getting old. As you can see, it was purchased in June of 2008, so it's 17 years old and getting older. there's parts within the spray entity of it that no longer work, and with the new everything as far as needing to keep track of what we spray, where we spray, it's would be really nice to update, and so that we can actually have GPS maps of where we're spraying and what we're spraying. And so we sent away for a quote so that we could get a new spray unit from the same North Star that we purchased the last one from. And their estimated cost is $135,870. The reason I say estimated is we will lease a truck from Enterprise. It'll get drop shipped to them, and then they will add the equipment. And if there's any little extra stuff that they need to do to make sure it gets mounted correctly, it may cost a little bit more than the $135,870. But that's what we're estimating the cost to be to purchase the spray equipment. Any questions?
So back in '08, was it the whole, I mean, the truck and the system, or just the system?
It was just the system.
Okay.
That was the, yeah, because the spray truck was extra. So
Okay.
And now we're gonna lease the truck.
correct. So yeah, we're working with Enterprise on what the correct length lease would be for the 1 ton that it has to be added to. And so that'll be Randy, myself, and Enterprise are working on trying to figure out what we can do, what we can't do. Whether it's a 5-year lease or a 10-year lease, it doesn't really much matter, because after 5 years, you can just you own the truck or whatever, or you keep paying on the lease. So, and keep it.
I want to keep it, period.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay, so looking for a motion.
This will be a budgeted item for,
2026, correct.
I'll move.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
So back in the past, you approved the contract with H2O Reviewers to do the viewing in the Sandhill River Watershed District, and they've tweaked their contract agreement, and so we need to re-sign the agreement. So I need approval to have the chair of the Drainage Authority, which is the chair of the board, to sign the agreement.
So what did they tweak? Do you know?
It was just their language. I don't know exactly what they tweaked. His email isn't attached. Basically, him and John Kolb from our ditch attorney discussed language within the tweak or within the contract, and they tweaked it to make it more correct for the laws moving forward.
They did the same to ours too, and he told me it was because when you have independent viewers, they don't want to have them be swayed by their boss.
Right.
So it had to do something with like at-will employment to make sure that those viewers can remain independent.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense.
So
Yeah. Okay.
there you go. There's your answer.
Our board had the same question, that's why.
Thank you.
Yeah, because there was nothing, there was
Yeah.
no way of telling unless you pull up the old one. And,
Right.
Okay.
I was hoping Sam was going to be here because then he would have been able to answer. But
Nope, he's gone all week.
Yeah.
Okay, so need a motion to approve this contract again.
I will move.
Paul,
And I will second.
any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next, we have the county ditch maintenance request for County Ditch 31. Enrights need to add an approach so that they can get into their field. They basically purchase property or are splitting property, and they need an approach into each, and so they've petitioned to add an approach, and they're paying for it.
Well, that goes without saying.
There you go.
I'll move then.
I think
You
it
get to
goes
sign
to
it.
Mr. Strandell.
Did you,
Mr. Strandell.
No, this one's yours, yeah.
did you second that?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Didn't you hear me?
just double checking.
Rattle, rattle.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next, unit 641 is due for replacement late fall this year. In order to get it in by the time we have to give the old motor grader back, we need to order it soon. The abstract shows that the cat motor grader costs a little bit more, $522,200 versus the 487, but Caterpillar's given us 295 for the old machine versus 228 that John Deere's giving, and so the Caterpillar machine's actually cheaper. Plus, then after 5 years, the buyback is 200,000 versus 169,000. So,
Oh, sure.
so your cheapest unit, long term, short term, is the Caterpillar from Ziegler Crookston. So we're recommending purchasing a cat.
I'll move on this one.
Okay, Warren,
The break the-
Cycle? I'll second then.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Carried.
We got the certificate of performance and final acceptance for SAP 6599-294 and 295, which are box culverts that were constructed last summer in Hammond Township. Gladen Construction Incorporated of LaPorte completed all their work as required on the contract. Original was $212,661.60. Final contract amount is $213,765.60, which was just some extra riprap on the outlet end of the culvert. And so therefore I need approval for myself to sign the certificate of performance and myself and the administrator to sign the final voucher.
I'll move.
Warren,
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Carried.
Next, same thing, certificate of performance, final acceptance for 6599-297 and 298 box culverts in Bransville Township and Russia Township. Gladen Construction Incorporated, LaPorte, Minnesota has completed all the work required on the original contract. Original contract amount of $222,198. Final contract amount $222,198. So no changes in the contract. Need approval for myself to sign the certificate of performance and myself and the administrator to sign the final voucher.
And these were those culverts we purchased and had hauled up?
Nope,
Nope, different ones? Okay.
different one. These ones are actually under the contract. So,
Okay. All right.
yep.
Yeah, I move.
Okay.
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Carried.
So last item, saved for last, is the petition to add in or replace the culvert through the private roadway / approach for the Rydell Refuge so they can get to their farm field, our field, and in Judicial Ditch 73. Typically, well, not typically, our policy states that if it's in a field approach or farm approach, the county pays for the replacement of the culvert as long as the approach was in the original ditch plan, which the culvert that we're talking about was. It was originally constructed way back when, and now was replaced. It was replaced once back in the 70s, early 80s, and now it's being replaced again. In the meantime, so when they called originally, and they're working with the Red Lake Watershed District on getting a permit through the watershed The watershed informed them that they also had to get a permit through us or do a maintenance request through us, so they contacted me. I asked, well, is it through the township road or is it a field approach, farm approach? They said, no, it's the field approach in the ditch. And so from our policy, I stated, okay, then Polk County pays for that so that you don't have to. So they ordered the pipe through True North Steel out of Fargo, asked if the invoice could be sent to us. The invoice has been sent to us. Hasn't been paid yet. It would, if it was to get paid, it would be getting paid the third week of August. In the meantime, we've had discussions with a previous department head stating that U.S. Fish and Wildlife never pays any ditch benefits, and therefore everybody else within the benefited area would have to pay for their culvert if the county board approved purchasing the culvert as per our policy. And so I tried calling them yesterday afternoon, no answer on the one person's phone. And so there was like 3 or 4 U.S. Fish and Wildlife people on the email when they emailed me the petition. And so I sent them back an email yesterday afternoon stating that because you don't pay ditch benefits, that more than likely you as a board aren't going to approve purchasing the culvert, but would approve having the ability to have it replaced, and that you would have to pay for it. I haven't heard back from them yet. So beyond all that, we still need to approve the replacement of the culvert. I would recommend we do it that they pay for it. And if we get in a real discussion, because I've already told them that we would pay for it, I will be back. But as of right now, my feeling is they'll pay for it. It's only $6,900 in order to be able to do the work if it hasn't already been done. So, any other questions?
I mean, I think, just with becoming aware of them not paying benefits and
To clarify, it's not just ditch benefits. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service does not pay any special assessments.
Right.
It was a Supreme Court.
Do they do PILT?
They do PILT.
Which is supposed to help pay for stuff like this. But
yeah, but
I'm guessing it's very little compared to
it's a specific formula calculated on a per acre basis that they pay their taxes based on payment in lieu of taxes. So yeah, it's a process that I go through on a yearly basis of going through and actually wiping any special assessment that's been billed to any U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service parcel in Polk County. And it's not just us; it's statewide.
Yeah.
So does the DNR do the same, or is the DNR different?
The DNR just doesn't pay their special assessments. They don't provide me statutory reference, but they have a lot of delinquent tax outstanding for special assessments.
So both. It doesn't matter whether it's federal or state, neither one pays. So I'll have to remember that in the future.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's frustrating because then, I mean, they're contributing to the water but not paying.
Correct. They're contributing to the tax base, but in a different manner than a private taxpayer.
Right. Do you know the formula, or do they do it?
That's a SAM. That would be a SAM. And Abdo, they're working on all of the formulas right now.
For me,
the furthest I've been involved in it is helping to figure out the acreage. So beyond that, I'm not quite sure what the formula is.
Okay. So, I guess, if you agree, I'm looking for a motion to approve the culvert, but with them paying the expenses.
Correct.
I'll move.
Okay,
I'll second.
any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That
Okay.
should be it for me. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Steiner.
Good morning.
Morning, John.
Get through Rich's considerable amount of stuff here. Okay, first item on the agenda would be the renewal of the insurance through Star or Ace American Insurance, depending on which way you look at it, for the Resource Recovery Facility in Fosston. That policy comes up every August 1st, runs through July 31st of the year. We have, if you remember back, we used to be covered under MCIT. MCIT a number of years ago decided they did not want to insure any of the resource recovery facilities in the state. Polk, Polk, Perham, and the Alexandria facility down Pope Douglas went out on their own, hired Mahoney Group, it's an insurance broker, to assess the markets and provide us coverage. We've been using them for a number of years now. They did go back and get a quote for this upcoming year. They increased the value of the property from 56.7 million to 60.4 million from last year to this year. They're proposing to have the same premium as last year, despite the increase in coverage. And then with the optional terrorism rider we put on and Mahoney's fees, we'd be paying the same amount. And that would be the box here, $283,704 for that coverage. Assuming we want to stick with the terrorism portion again, I have put together basically 3 motions to tie it all together. First, to bind Mahoney Group so we can contract through them for that. The second would be for the terrorism insurance. We have to make a decision on that before we get to the final total, and then the final total of those plus the policy would be $283,704, which is the same as last term, or the term we're finishing right now.
Okay, so first one is the $25,000 to Mahoney Group for administering.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, and then number 2 is approving the terrorism insurance.
Can you tell me a little bit more what they're covering there? What acts would be covered?
The issue is basically the concern over a lot of the protests and things that have been going on.
Just protesting.
Damage would come from vandalism from that to that sort of thing. You know, that was a concern a few years ago. Depends on kind of the political climate, what's going on. But that's what the value of that is.
Well, everything's getting demonstrated upon lately yet.
Again, that's the big one. You know, you get cyber terrorism, you know, any of that sort of stuff.
But it does cover cyber as well.
Some of it, yes. You know, if they're trying to go after the plant, our plant really isn't online where you can get in. You know, that's by design and working through IT. We don't have any permanent connections. You know, again, this company pretty much represents power companies.
Yeah.
So it's power grid risk stuff. But again, you get all of the other things that go along with it, environmental protests or whatever it would be. So
you recommending it?
I'm recommending, because it was a concern before and we put it on, and it just makes sense to
Then I'll move.
keep with it.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then number 3 is then to approve the full amount of $283,704.
I'm assuming that was part of the budget.
Actually, we figured it would go up.
Mhm.
It usually goes up.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
It is in there, yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll move.
Okay. Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, the next item, actually, I have to look to see what order they came in. It's additional work at the material recovery facility in Fosston. We have 2 grants that we secured in 2024 that will be taking place. The actual work on the material recovery facility in Fosston will occur this fall. Right now, it's looking like September. Most of that work will be done. We'll have Titus MRF Services, or the company that built the MRF for us in 2018, is going to do the grant work. That's to install those robots, that's to install that bag opener and the fine screener, the 3 major components, and then the changes we have to make to the existing equipment to fit that in. Since they specialize in this and they're going to be on site and they'll have the heavy equipment, the main feed belt that comes out of the metering drum and goes up to the sort line area that lifts the waste
Mhm.
up the 3 stories, that's getting to be in pretty bad shape. It's a chain drag system, so it's a chain that pulls that belt up and around because you're going in incline and it bends, and the metal that holds the belt on is pulling through in places. The belts rot over time. We're constantly replacing belts. This one's not as simple as other ones because it's got that chain. It's a very heavy and long belt. And so the thought was to have Titus, since they specialize in it and they have all the equipment and personnel on site, would be to add that to doing it. They'll probably be a heck of a lot more efficient at doing it, being they've done many of these, including this one, where this would be the first we would try and conquer in-house, and we're relatively short-staffed. So they were out to do their final field measurements about a week and a half ago. And so they're putting together a proposal for doing that. The parts on it alone are over $70,000. I don't know what the labor will be because, again, they're on site and they can fit it in when they'll probably have people there doing what you call busy work, but between big things, doing that plus the equipment will be on site. So I don't know that we would be able to do it any cheaper than they would in-house. So we're working on that. The other thing was we still see a lot of the large metal getting to waste energy units and then coming out the back in the ash. We'd want to install a new heavy duty magnet on that line that can pull those heavy things, starter motors and things like that off. The other belts or the other magnets more designed to handle cans and things like that. It's not strong enough to pull that out. And so we'd look to do that. It's been identified as a safety concern. One of the things as part of the union contract, we set up a committee to go through things, address things. That's one of the things they pointed out that they were concerned with is you have these big metal things dropping off of the conveyors and then roll down the pile on the tip floor. So it made sense to do that. We're hoping we could do that in conjunction with the project. It may not work that way because it might have a long lead time on it. So we're waiting on that. So basically, because of everything kind of coming together at the last minute, if we can fit them in, we might get a change order to doing that. But because of the delivery dates on some of that stuff, we might need to actually tell them place the order to meet the timeline before I'd be able to come back and get board approval. So I was just looking to see if there was any objection to doing that if we have the opportunity to do so.
If it's your advice, then I think that we should probably do that. If for one, it appears that it may save us money.
It'll save us on the belt. It'll probably save us money.
Right.
Mhm.
If nothing else, it'll be done
Time.
a lot quicker and
And
probably
time and
probably safer, just because our people haven't done that
then
before.
Right.
that goes without saying.
Mhm.
I like the magnet deal, but that is a different budgeted item. I would assume, or that
Depending on how it transpires, I may be able to put that in as part of our cash match against the grant.
oh sure.
So we're still paying for it,
Right.
but count it there instead of something else.
Right. Yeah. That'd be good.
I'll move them.
Yeah,
Okay.
there, you don't have to do. I was just looking to find out if there's anything, because I might have to do that before I could bring it here for approval
Yeah.
to get the timeline. So
Yeah.
if there's no real objection to doing that concern,
No.
then
Yeah.
just leave it at that then.
Okay. So Paul made the motion.
There,
We don't need
you don't
one.
need a motion. There's no action item on there. I didn't put an action item on the agenda.
Okay.
Because I don't have the pricing. I don't know even if we can get it in time to do it. So
Oh, okay. So I mean,
I'd have to bring it, if we're going to do it, I'd probably have to order it and then bring it back for after the fact approval, I guess is.
okay. 'cause
Right,
I
but
mean,
you got to go ahead to take care of it if need be. That's what I'm. But we don't need an action item on that. Okay, fine.
okay. Because I mean, it does say call for a motion.
I did write it, didn't I? So-
I think you've kind of arrived at a consensus.
Yeah.
I want
Mhm.
the minutes to reflect that there was a consensus to move ahead with the exact cost or billing coming back at a future date.
Yeah, let's do it that way.
I apologize for the
Well,
confusion on that.
I was reading it and okay.
Yeah,
I'll do with what Chuck stated.
I'm fighting you on what I asked for in writing. That makes sense. Sorry about that. No, I was just looking more for
A consensus.
consensus because I don't have anything specific. I don't even
Yeah,
have a
we don't need a
proposal
move.
from them.
We got a
Yeah.
consensus.
Okay. Well, you've got your consensus
Okay.
to move ahead.
Sorry about that. All right, the last one hopefully won't be that bad. It's just kind of an update on the landfill permit.
This one is information only.
Yeah, this is information only.
Did you get a permit?
Well, we're getting to it. But if you read the packet, you know.
Just the suspense, I know.
Yeah, so this has been a kind of a saga. We applied in 2015, got the permit February 2017. We actually ended up building the landfill without a permit because it was so delayed. The permit was issued, even though we didn't have agreement on the plans, the operation maintenance plan and the industrial solid waste plan, both of which are required as part of the permit. So it was basically we had to work in good faith to get that done. I don't even know how many revisions had been made to the plans because it drug out. There was constantly something else being added or changed. The operations are far from stagnant, so to expect that 5 years later nothing was going to change, I don't think was very realistic. In order to sell the compost that we produce, they needed to make what they call a major permit modification. I argued it really wasn't necessary based on the things that they were holding up that required approval. Nothing has swayed me from that opinion. As a matter of fact, I just was at a presentation last week where others were talking about doing things that we were told they needed a major permit modification to do, and they didn't. And this is an MPCA meeting. So that's always been a sticking point for us. Of course, we had to go through the wetland permit process, and in doing so, we hit the protected plant issue that wasn't expected to be out there, wasn't even being looked for. That took on a life of its own. That got resolved at the end of 2023. That required us to modify the landfill footprint. So another major permit mod that was supposed to be expedited in May of 2024. And wasn't expedited. That's what we're working on right now.
Still not.
Yeah. So, really, really long story. I mean, that's really condensed. It's basically a decade condensed into a few sentences. But we finally got a draft that was based on our comments, that was acceptable. It was put out for public notice July 3rd. Public notice, public comment closes August 4th. They'll then take any comment received and they have a period of time in which to respond. And that response time pretty much depends on what they get and what the comments are. But we would expect that the permit, our current 10-year permit, which expires next year, 10-year permit expires next year, will get probably in September. End of August at the earliest, September most likely. And of course, we have to apply for our next 10-year permit 180 days before it expires. So this time next year, we'll have to be submitting our next 10-year permit. So we'll get maybe 10 months of reprieve from 10-year permit work. And that's not even going to happen because we'll have to do some things that are seasonal dependent this year yet.
So then the ability to sell the compost wood should be included in.
That would be part of this permit.
Okay.
But because that's the testing protocol and everything, we won't have compost to sell until probably close to this time next year. Everything produced to date's been required to be used in the landfill as cover material. So I know they did offer to work with us on that, but just told me you didn't do the protocol. We didn't have anything to go by, so we can't do it even if we wanted to and you wanted to. And of course, they didn't push back, say, "Oh, don't worry about that. Go ahead." Yeah. So it'll be nice to get wrapped up. It's an extremely costly process, much more costly than it ever should have been.
Definitely.
Hopefully, the next one is much smoother. We will see. So, but as this one concludes, then there'll be some changes on the regulatory side that hopefully will result in maybe a smoother process next time.
Was that just a report information or?
Information only. I was very clear on that one. 2 words, information only.
There's a certain therapeutic quality to this, so you have to keep that in mind. As he said, it's a saga, but it's also been.
The 10-year saga is going to start all over again.
I don't think it'll go like it did last time.
Not. Just think about all the extra man hours you've had to put in.
You could count it in years.
That's what I mean.
The amount of hours, if you added them up over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It would be years.
That's unbelievable.
But, all the plans are being approved right now. They're not 5 years or 10 years old. I mean, they're going to be 13 months old when we make the application. So hopefully there wouldn't be a lot of changes. We will need to change one thing on our end because I did not introduce another new element and basically reset the cycle. And that would be to change from the static windrows that we use for the compost to an aerated thing, which actually should speed up the compost process for us. That's actually part of that grant.
Yeah.
But we're going to miss that window to do any work out there because this isn't going to come until August. We wouldn't be able to quote or bid and get contractors out there doing work. So we missed that window for this year again. But, it's my understanding we'll have a new engineer assigned. So I hopefully get off on a good foot and.
Right. Yeah. And that it sticks with the one engineer instead of going.
In both ways, I think personalities got involved all around. So I think a reset would be good for everyone.
That's the therapeutic end of it, right?
When it's being issued, it's a lot easier to be diplomatic, in responding to some things. But yes, it'll be nice to have that off the agenda. It seems like more and more things get put on the plate. It's nice to get a couple of things off, especially these big ones. So
Yeah.
Okay, great.
that's it.
Fun.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, Jim.
I'm listening. I'm just going
Good morning.
Good morning.
All I have today is just the sheriff's June report, and let me go. And our first up is our document services for June. We had a total of 72 come through the office for a paid services of $2,167.74, and our non-paid is $1,277.60. And then for our transports for the month of June, we had about our average. We had 5,880.8 miles for a total of hours of 181.5. Our in-prison was 223.33.2, and our out-of-state was 1,987. And then we had the federal transports total of 512. So that went down by about 500. And I think it's just the time of the month and in the middle of recess with everything going on. So, but that still continues to stay high as it was in 25. So, and then for our dispatch center, we had a total of 2,699 calls. We had emergency 797, with our non-emergency was 1,902 calls that came through. And then we'll get into our calls for service. We had a total of, stands out, our animal complaints, 13. We continue to deal with that. Our assist agencies, 18. We had 3 assaults. And then our boat and water, 16. 1 burglary. And then our careless driving was 5. We had 8 domestics, with 4 of those being violent. And on page 2, our harassments, we had 4. And then info tip line, we received 19. Motorist assist for the month was 11. And then our motor vehicle crashes, we had 1 ATV, and then we had the total of 17, with 14 being just property damage and 3 being injury accidents. So public assists, we had 34, and reckless drivers, 7. 2 stolen vehicles, and then our suspicious activity, with that includes our persons and vehicles. We had a total of 15 on that for the month. Traffic complaints, we had 18. We had a total of 133 traffic stops. And then we went through the transports already. And then our welfare checks, we had a total for the month of June of 13. So a total was of 692 calls for service. So this is the last one always here. If you see this, this is either put in an error or removed, but it just stays attached to that because it's written up as a CFS in the CAT. So, and then with that, I also included the May 2025. Any questions, concerns?
I mean, actually, the numbers were down quite a bit.
They are, and we went through, well, that'll come out in July, but the fair went really good, so we shouldn't have. I think the biggest thing that we kind of scrambled on is we had 5 little reported missing.
Missing people. The most.
Some of them just run off from mom and they can't catch them, so they stop and report them, which was the first one. Because that was kind of,
They were ecstatic,
yeah,
but it turned out good.
yeah. But other than that, it went really well. Fair, just, I think every year we've had it really good since you guys did some changes down there. There's a lot going on. But yeah, all in all, it was really good June. So we hope July to be the same, and now we're going into August, so slowing down on some of the overtime and all that stuff throughout the fair. We were able to put 3 extra deputies on each night at the fair. Started at 4 and went to usually about 2:30.
It was great.
To help out. So yeah. So that's all I have. I'll just get through this. There we go. Anything else? No.
Thank you.
Have a good day, good weekend.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, I missed it. I said, sorry, I missed it.
It was good, Chuck.
I was gonna ask you to do it all over again, but I could watch it.
Did you want this or just leave it?
Jake's next.
Jake's gonna be in here, but, you guys want a break?
Yeah, I suppose, because I mean, you don't have anything else. I mean,
I don't.
Yeah.
no.
See you later.
Bye, thank you.
yeah, why don't we take a break till Jake comes?
Detention, if you would.
Okay,
Yeah, you get
I don't want to get detention. It's been a
No,
while.
I've gotta find some things I can throw at you. Well, that's, yeah, that could hurt.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
please go.
that's the low heels today.
Start it up again.
You ready?
Yeah, looks like.
Okay. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So I got a couple action items today. First action item is a special project request from Union Lake Sarah Improvement District. Historically, we've pushed funding through our AIS task force. This is a grant-funded program for the county. We receive a little over $65,000 to run this program any given year. And so that we were hearing rumors that the AIS program was going to be getting cutted, or cut in half at least for the next 2 years. That has since kind of been taken back, and we are going to receive a little over $65,000 to run our program in the coming years. So at least until, or at least next year. The one thing is we did historically have a budget line in here for $15,000 for special projects. That we upped about 3 years ago when the DNR had kind of told the improvement district, you will hire a contractor to do the spraying. You can't do it on a volunteer basis anymore. And that, of course, drove that price for chemical treatments of your Asian water milfoil and mechanical treatments now for curly leaf pondweed, took that through the roof. And so what's kind of changed in Union Lake Sarah's improvement district's budget is that they have started a special assessment with Union Lake and Lake Sarah. Any given year, that $250 is charged as a special assessment to those on either one of those water bodies. And so the one thing that does is they now leverage money to have this become something that's self-sustaining for them. They know they're going to have treatment that they have to do to control some of those weeds in the smaller bays. It only helps us to try to keep those weeds out of our other lakes. They did purchase an eco harvester. They are mechanically removing some of these weeds as well as doing some chemical application. So what we received is we did get an updated delineation. This wasn't, I didn't have this for the last AIS task force meeting.
Yeah.
I had received that from Lonnie the day after our meeting.
Yeah, I got it last night. So.
Okay. The one thing is that it does just kind of show us some densities. The higher density areas are obviously in your shallower bays. One thing to note is this particular bay south of the public access on Union actually was surprisingly a little lower density than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like that map has even changed from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's been improvements.
There's been improvements in some areas, and then the big area that really is of concern still is the East Campground Bay. Well, they call it Campground Bay because there is the Union Lake Campground, Union Lake Sarah, I guess. It kind of crosses the road here, but that bay is pretty shallow. It kind of hugs around. There's a lot of wetlands on the south end here. And then, of course, there is a channel that via a ditch connects Union and Sarah, with majority of the flow coming from Sarah to Union. So that's a good thing. It does have the potential. There could be a backflow there, but it's very rare. So some of the things is we're seeing some areas improving, but other areas, the middle bay, what I call this middle area, where it kind of narrows, seeing a little higher density than the last survey in there, because they're not really targeting that area all that much, because the boat traffic seems to be in where they can pick the weeds up, and unless you're in shallow water, your potential is a little lower there. But it did kind of clear up a little bit on the south end. But then the yin and the yang of the thing is you have your Eurasian water milfoil, because that map, I'm sorry I didn't point out, is curly leaf pondweed now. It seems that these two are the ones competing against each other.
Sure.
But not enough.
So when you get the one to go down, the other one seems to come up a little bit. I guess though, still looking at that south end of the access site, it still is a lot lower than I would expect. I would have expected one of these to be red all over. This is very shallow in here. You see your Asian milfoil's almost been eradicated from the campground bay.
No kidding.
And then curly leaf pondweed is taking over those shallow
Right.
areas. And so very much yin and yang with some of these. And Eurasian water milfoil in the main channel in the Narrows area, it seems to be getting out competed by that curly leaf pondweed. And so
Is that historically common?
well, we've only known it has
With other
for the
places,
last two. Yeah, I would say those two, just because of the jumpstart curly leaf pondweed gets, it can grow under ice, whereas Eurasian water milfoil doesn't typically do that. It might have started this year because we didn't have a lot of snow cover.
Right.
So all those weeds could have got a jump start on a lot of our native plant species, and that's how they outcompete them right off the top any given year. But yeah, I would say we're going to have that yin and yang going on for quite some time, because they can outcompete the natives, and that's why they're so detrimental to our lakes, is that they get a jump start on growing. One dies, Eurasian water milfoil typically grows to a certain point, and then it grows to 12, 14 feet in depth, so it can just keep growing. Whereas that curly leaf pondweed, it grows so quick. It starts in like February, March. They have a big die off then come July and this time of the year. That weed's actually dying right now. And so it's kind of an interesting dynamic, but you think there'd be enough heat and stuff to get that weed to grow all through the growing season, but for whatever reason it has this die off in summer. So an interesting species.
Maybe
anyway.
because we're not Mother Nature.
Yeah, trying to play trying to fiddle with that. Yeah, it's trying to get our native species back to have a chance to outcompete some of these weeds is very difficult. They had to try something, so obviously the eco harvester and things, and mechanical removal is something that there is new for them. So their request this year is for $7,500, and they're actually targeting labor for removing those particular weeds and maintenance cost instead of a chemical treatment like we tried to assist them in the past.
Well, I sure like that better than the chemicals.
Yeah, I mean
it's more
you can overspray, you can do it. I mean, you're not targeting just those species with a chemical.
No.
It kills everything.
Yeah.
So are we helping? And that's kind of why the DNR had pushed them. You need to start doing more surveys. You need to figure out, are we making headway or are we actually making it worse with chemical applications? So
it's nice to add the money to the labor force.
Yeah, and they have a person that's out there running the eco harvester and getting it to the their particular drop off point for the dumping is a local gravel pit. We were in contact with them, make sure they're not exceeding some of our planning and zoning rules for composting. They get that stuff out of the lake and it just seems to smelt in that
and gone.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
There is no compost.
Yeah.
It's a mile down the road from the access site. So the potential there for anything getting into another water body with what they're doing, physical removal, is nil to none. The site's been approved for that from the DNR that they want it to go there too. So commend them for that, for getting that, a spot to put it, because it could get pretty costly getting it to our landfill and stuff too, to have it melt there, and there's not much left.
No, yeah. And it kind of sounded like last night that it necessarily wasn't going to what they indicated on the grant form. So, like, because, they made the comment that it's not, specifically earmarked. So I think it was going to be, they were like putting it towards the survey cost, which I think was 24 or 2,700. And so, but then did you get the one that they found the curly leaf pondweed in Sarah?
I did get that survey too from, so it was indicated a small patch of curly leaf
Mhm.
pondweed. Which I asked Lonnie, is there some way we can get the eco harvester out there or somebody else through their
Mhm.
lake restoration that they
Mhm.
partner through for chemical treatment to go and physically pull those weeds
Yep.
and try to
Yep.
get them out. Because there is it was noted, it was one small patch.
Yeah, that was kind of matted down. So,
So yeah, we will, I did notice that, and we'll have to make some calls to DNR because they're gonna have to go out there and see if that's now infested or they got confused that it was some other weed. I would doubt it. I would doubt they would confuse this consultant.
yeah, yeah.
Should know what they're doing.
Mhm.
So pulled enough out of it out of Union to know what it looks like.
Yeah. And one of the homeowners that was there last night um, talked, I think he had put like a chair out, kind of by his deck in the water. And when he pulled the chair out, it was just covered with zebra mussels. And they were good sized.
In Union.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of calls in this fall when things get pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
There's breeding populations in there. It's going to
Mhm.
be a lot more noticeable this year than last.
Yeah, yeah. And then, with the Chinese mystery snails and Sarah are getting worse too.
They have their boom and bust.
Yeah.
There's not. They like the sand. They like the sand, and that's all that there is on the main basin of Sarah is sugar sand.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
So I have a motion to approve the recommendation from our Polk County AIS Task Force to award special funding to Union Lake Sarah Improvement District in the amount of $7,500. This aid will directly go to removal of Eurasian water milfoil or curly leaf pondweed. I'm fine with them using it for the survey too. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, I'll move.
Okay. Are you going to second it or not?
Well, I didn't know a motion
I
had been
moved.
made.
I made a move.
I will second that motion.
Any other discussion?
will.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
okay, my next action item, I have a bid in to fix some areas, some problem areas before we get on to our compost bunkers. Our compost drop off area that we did. So we have some potholes that are only growing. They just seem to melt all the class 5 we put on them. It was asphalt. It's just that when we did that project, the contractor staged in that area, and so there is asphalt underneath it, but it just seems to keep sinking in the ground. It is kind of an area of our site that is higher water table there. So I got a bid in to replace a 31 by 54 foot pad, as well as to repair a small old bunker in our recycle building. There used to be a baler in there, and so it was a subgrade area where we would have that conveyor to feed the baler. And we did have that packed with class 5 a few years ago and let that rest and packed it again. And so they're ready to pour right in there. The only problem was when I had this contractor out, they go, well, you're going to pay double just because it's such a small job. We got to run this extra concrete from the truck to a different site. So you got any other needs for concrete? I said, yeah, we got some bad areas. We have a plan. I think I submitted that, it's kind of hard to see here, but, we had Wenk do a evaluation of that area. So this is our compost, you see my cursor here, the tipping area, the compost tipping area here. Right out in front of that area, I've highlighted a real area of concern right now. What's going on is getting drainage to kind of drain off of the it's old asphalt that's basically cracked beyond belief where water's sitting there, and so it just basically sinks. We fill it with class 5, we filled it with crushed concrete, we've tried to do some things, it's a losing battle right now. So we need to get that drainage to kind of get on our compost tipping area and out to the north through a storm sewer here. So that contractor, when they were looking at this, said, well, let's measure this up and I'll get you a bid. And when I got the bid, I almost crapped my pants. So I said, let's do it. Let's try to do this project first. And then I'm hoping we're going to bottleneck a little bit. People are still going to be able to use our compost area during this project. There isn't going to be any functionality that's going to drop off for our facility. But if we can, we're going to let this cure for 30 to 45 days, and then we're going to jump over and try to do the next one. I do have a budget line item that's well over double what the bid was for this. And so I'm hoping that before freeze up this year that both these areas will be fixed. And just have that same contractor get us another bid right after he's done with that project. Let that concrete cure. We'll put all the traffic into that new the new concrete area, and then flip and try to do I call them AB. So
Are we pulling out old product, all the old junk?
yeah,
And then
all the old junk's coming out, and then we're
Starting
overlaying
fresh.
with concrete instead of asphalt.
Okay, so you're gonna re-prep the area, take out whatever it is, 18, 24 inches, refill it, pack it, go for it.
Yep. And we're gonna get our grade right based on this particular design we got from Wenk several years ago.
Okay.
To run, see, we got a point in our lot, that bubbled line there is the point where we need to start pushing our drainage south, and anything north of that, we're needing to push north.
North.
Yep. Because that compost pad is actually sloped like this for drainage purposes.
Sure.
We want that to go to the north for our storm sewer that's in the street there.
Yeah.
And we fight that a little in the spring, but that's just spring conditions.
Yeah.
If our bunkers are full, we just kind of have to pump it that way, and that's what we do. But this will make it a lot better so there's not water sitting from that compost pad. But yeah, I hope to do 2 pours this year, and I've kind of made the contractor and made him aware that I hope to do this one, and then we're going to mirror it and do basically about the exact same pour right next to it. With the goal of every year trying to move from asphalt to concrete so we can
Is there any way he can take all of that out at once and pack it and prep it?
What that would do is the compost area we would have to do bins somewhere else on our site.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to not lose any functionality and just have it do AB, and try to do that for this year and next. And then we'd be at that point of no return where we're going south drainage. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to get that drainage.
That's just gonna be your weakest link in the future, if that split,
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
It's just, we got to get the elevation right to pour it right. So checked around, very reputable concrete contractor. So I have a bid from, I gotta zoom out a little bit so we can see and read this, from JD Concrete LLC of Crookston, in the amount of $20,450 to do those 2 projects out at the Crookston transfer station. And again, it is in the 2025 budget this year.
My turn? Yes.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, that's all I have today. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Do you do anything with that stuff that's going on in Lingby? I just had a couple calls last week about,
The remonumentation.
yeah.
I'm not involved in it, but I can reach out to Widseth. Is there something
Yeah,
going
that,
on?
apparently they were told in that meeting, this is what I got from a couple of the folks. They were told in the meeting that when they did each of their property, they would talk with each one of the landowners,
Okay.
and none of them have been talked to. They've seen them there, but never talked to the landowners just to see how things are going and where their lines are or their lots are. If that can be adjusted somehow.
I'll reach out to Widseth and see where they're at with
Sounds good, thanks.
projects. So
I was gonna ask Rich, but I forgot when he was here.
yeah, and that's actually Rich signed the contract for them to do that because it was actually a grant.
Yep.
Yep.
So I'll CC Rich on it too.
All right,
See
thank
where
you.
they're at. So,
Yeah.
right. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks.
We're gonna get it online for everybody.
Oh.
After we use the resolution.
All right, sounds great.
This one? Yeah.
I have to wait for her.
Yeah, she might be a minute.
Another signature.
You want more coffee, Warren, while we're waiting?
Why not?
Okay.
Are we on break right now or?
Yeah, I'll go off.
Me as well.
Okay, I was waiting for you to signal me. Okay, so next we got Annette online with us to give us an update. So take it away.
Go ahead and share your screen.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. We're
Nope.
Are in the final review stages and everything will be sent to the auditors early next week. The auditors are planning to be on site mid to late August. Once they get all the information, they'll have a better timeline and they'll reach out to the individual departments to let them know when they're going to be on site and testing. The process was quite challenging to get the 2024 items organized and in a more decent format. So when the auditors come, I think they're going to be very surprised and excited for how organized and all the tracking that we have done, along with the cleanup work that the auditors have had to do in the past, such as unwinding all of those transfers, things that don't belong in the general ledger system. So just wanted to give an update that we're in that final review. It just took us a lot longer than we expected with a lot of the challenges, but we've really gained some really good insight about how the various departments are operating, so we can work with them on efficiencies and um, getting things to a better place, easier tracking. There was a lot of duplication, a lot of the different sections that we look at and review, where the auditors would maybe get, a piece from the highway department or a piece from the landfill or a piece from admin. We are really streamlining things, making finance that central location to where they're gathering all of that information, preparing it, doing any journal entries, anything that needs to get done at year end before it goes out to the auditors. So we've established that new process, and so 2024 will set that the new standard for going forward. So when we look forward here into the future, we'll look at the 2025 audit prep as we did as much cleanup as we could in 2024. But until we implement a lot of those changes, 2025 will still be a little bit messier, but it won't be as messy as 2024. Just because we are able to have a better understanding and have a lot of that cleaned up before year end. So as we're looking forward, we'll look at ways to improve the 2025 audit prep, and just really plan for that 2025 and the 2026 as we slowly transition things back to the county once things are in a better place and staff are able to help with those areas going forward. Right. Banking service review. In our original proposal, we were proposing a request for proposals for the banking service. Since we've been working with the county, we've changed that scope a little bit, and we're just looking at an overall service review right now, as there aren't many opportunities or many, let's see, what am I trying to say here? There aren't very many banks that can service an entity such as Polk County with the government side of things. So rather than going out for a request for proposals, as of now, with all the changes and everything, we are just simply meeting with Bremer Bank to go over what the current fees are, what the current services are, just to do that review of what the services are for Polk County. We're also looking at what services do they offer that could really benefit the county. If you remember back, we implemented a few new items such as the check scanner, so staff can enter or to scan in their own checks to the bank to really live time the receipting, especially with property taxes being collected. We've implemented positive pay earlier this year, and that's just to safeguard the county's funds to ensure that only the checks, ACHs, things that they've initiated out are approved to clear the bank. So we're really just going to take a high level of what services do they offer that we currently aren't, that makes sense to explore to see if it's a good opportunity for the county to expand their capabilities in the banking realms. And then just overall other recommendations as to how things are structured. So we really want to make sure that we're maximizing the returns for the county's funds. So we're really just taking that service review, working with Bremer to really get a good understanding about what are the fees and just overall the opportunity for those investment returns. All right, next up we have the 2026 budget. I won't spend a whole lot of time on this. I believe Chuck has an update a little bit later during your meeting to really go over what that process looks like. But the overall 2026 budget is currently ongoing for internal, along with the implementation side of things. So as we went through the 2024 audit and as we're talking more with departments, getting an understanding of how their operations are, we've really started to clean up and simplify the budget process for departments. We've made some changes, such as like salaries are computed and maintained by finance, as those numbers are pretty set in stone with just how the overall personnel is set up for their COLA increases, any step increases, those types of things. We talked a little bit about that forward thinking about creating a 10-year capital improvement plan. So really just working with staff just to get that mindset of the forward thinking, only budgeting for things that we are expecting to either purchase or receive in 2026. And like I said, Chuck will be giving a demo later, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on the budget update there. We'll be working with staff here over the next couple of weeks to really finalize and go through their budgets so that it can get presented later on for what they're looking at for proposed 2026 numbers. I'm really going to pause here in case there's any questions before I roll into investments.
Just a comment, Annette, we had a little earlier time gap, so I demonstrated the Questica budget entry for their budget, for the county board's budget. So it was interesting to show that, and I thought the board received it well.
Good. Yeah, it's always exciting to actually see it. I'm a very visual person, so when I see things, it really just makes things fall into place a little bit easier. So it's always exciting to see a lot of that work that's gone into it, and just to be able to see that product that you're working towards. All right, next up, I have investments on here. Back in May, the board approved a investment policy, which set the parameters for staff to really look forward as to how to maximize the county's return on their cash. So just an update since then. The finance director and myself have met with Lynn Cornwell from Morton Capital. She's a very great resource. She does a lot of trainings with local governments. It's what her specialty is. So we've met with her. We've done introductions. We have a plan in place to really look at staff starting to draft a cash flow analysis to really show what the county needs over the next 6 months to a year as liquid. So we can really identify what we're comfortable with at looking at starting to really invest there. So over the next couple of months, we'll do some training with staff to get them familiar with just overall language of investments and just really start to introduce that along with that cash flow in there. So once we get that completed, we'll look at having Lynn actually come and meet with the board just to introduce herself, to go over just some high level investment items, and just give you the opportunity to ask some of those questions maybe that you have on the investment side, as it is a new process for the county. So really just starting to look into those investments. We're not just jumping in. We're establishing, like we said, the policy established those procedures, and then now we're just looking at really like that forward thinking about, okay, what does the county need, and how do we maximize those returns there? So just a little bit of movement since the last time we spoke, but wanted to give an update as to where we're at with the investment side of things. All right, just looking to the future. We have some projects that have been identified that we will be working on, either getting more details to the board, or just items that we've identified that we will be working on. The first up, we have the fixed asset reconciliation. So this was an area that we knew from the beginning that we would have some work. Once we went through the 2024 audit, we were able to really understand as to what, how the fixed or capital assets were being tracked by the county. Currently, it's very siloed. There are departments that are tracking their own. There isn't one central location for all of those. So we're really looking at reviewing, which was done during the 2024 audit, as to like what everything is, looking for ways to better track them, such as a fixed asset program. We will also need to look at a fixed asset policy, which tells staff the different, I mean, some of it is very set by GAAP, which is the government accounting world. And they have different categories such as land, equipment, all of that. But what the county needs to establish is what their threshold is. You know, anything over maybe for, let's just say for a larger piece of equipment, like maybe something over the purchase of 15,000 would then trigger those fixed assets to where we pull it in at year end. So we'll really look at doing a high level fixed asset policy, but then getting a little bit more into the specifics about doing the reconciliation, having a central location for all assets. And with the amount that the county has, really recommending having some type of fixed asset program, whether that's through, I know IFS has their own, but just looking forward thinking, you know, if it's works to have a different program that would, you know, look into the future there. So we'll look at some of that as well. But then also on the flip side, once you guys have that good tracking mechanism, we'll really want to take that and look at what the county has insured through MCIT. So we want to make sure that what is insured is truly what the county has. We want to make sure that you're not underinsured. We want to make sure that you're not overinsured, and that the premiums that you're paying are accurate. So that'll be part of the fixed asset reconciliation that we'll be looking at drafting more specific language to here in the next month or so. All right, next up on here is debt cleanup. We've been talking about this since we started in October. We have a good work paper for audit purposes. We've identified the different debt issuances that the county are still paying on. We have cleaned it up as of the end of 2024, but we will have some additional cleanup that needs to happen during the 2025 period. For example, some of the debt is currently in the general fund. Typically, the debt transcripts require a separate debt service fund is set up so you can track to make sure that you have the 105% of next year's payments. When it's intermingled with the general fund, it's really hard to show this and track it. So we'll be working on here in the next month or so, bringing to the board a resolution to transfer out anything that's currently sitting in the general fund for any type of debt purposes, and we'll establish that into its own debt service fund. So we'll be working on that, and that's something that will be coming to the board in the future. All right, next item we have is reviewing finance staff responsibilities. So as we went through the audit, there were different pieces of tracking, like reconciliations that aren't currently being done, that really should be done. For example, grant tracking. The county receives quite a bit of funds on the grant side of things. So tracking, making sure that everything is being tracked properly, will really help streamline year-end close, along with ditches. We don't have any staff identified for ditch tracking and reconciliations. Also looking forward thinking for ditches. What is the future maintenance cost, which is something that that the highway department tracks, but finance needs to, be able to provide that information to them to say, okay, the ditch system is operating here. If you have these expenses upcoming, then we're going to need to, to levy those, or, if there's a redetermination or something coming up there. So we've identified that ditches need additional support for tracking. Debt, ensuring that things are being paid properly. So staff members should be tracking all of the debt, ensuring that they have the proper coverage, and then overall preparing for the audit. So this would include updating work papers, creating the year-end entries, gathering all information. As I've previously stated, that finance should be the central location for the auditors and provide guidance to the other departments on finance-related items. So this is just another one of those areas where we're really trying to bring finance to the forefront, and have them be the experts when it comes to all things finance related. And then the other main area for the responsibilities is just overall the function backup. So right now we have a staff member that does payroll, but we don't necessarily have someone identified if that payroll person were to go out on leave or just to be gone unexpectedly. So we want to really make sure we have that cross training and identify that as a responsibility for staff. So payroll, accounts payable, things that are a core function of the county. And if something were to happen, it would disrupt the county pretty traumatically. So we want to make sure that a lot of these functions that are day to day, month to month, week to week, sorry about that, that we have that main function backup component in there. All right. Questions or anything so far? All right. The last item I have on here is I really want to thank the board for your support so far. This work / cleanup wouldn't be able to be possible without everyone here. The amount of improvements that we have seen in the past 9 months have been tremendous. Whether that's from the bank account cleanup, training with overall staff, a lot of the training that we've done, we've gotten staff being able to do their own journal entries. We've made changes to daily tie-outs, making things a lot more efficient. We've made some improvements such as the check scanner and positive pay. We've really got a good understanding of the transfers that were happening between the departments and ways to improve those. As that was one of those audit findings that we were looking to reduce. Overall fund account closures, we've started this. We will have more in the future as we find better ways to account for things. And then just overall functions of the finances for Polk County. Like I said, we'll have more to come as we have more discussions with the departments on their current operations. So really just getting a good understanding of what the function is and ensuring that they have all of the tools that they need to do their job efficiently. So thank you guys. If we didn't have that support, I can tell you the amount of work that we have done would take a minimum of a year to 3 years. So really just making really good progress. It's all hands on deck. Staff have been great to work with. So really just want to throw out that appreciation there.
I'll chime in and thank you, Annette. Your ABDO team has been great. We've got Stacy in the room. I mean, it's just been great having her on board. Very professional, very knowledgeable, very motivated. Do you want to add anything? from what you've seen?
No, it's been a great it's been a great working relationship. We flow really well together. I could not come in and do what needs to be done without them because of all of the things that need to be fixed and cleaned up and brought in to get you up and operating the way we need to be operating. So I'm very thankful every day that they're there to help guide and direct. But we're working well together. It's great.
And I will add, I kind of touched on it earlier that we're already having some discussions about what needs to be done from a 2026 budget perspective, because it takes a while to get things in order. There's been a lot to do, but that there's still ways to go, and we can only go so fast. I mean, 2 softwares at one time is a big lift.
Yep.
But we haven't even gotten to the general ledger and the fixed assets and whatever else might come into play there. But so far, we're progressing really very, very fast relative to how these things typically get done. And frankly, the difficult lift is one of the reasons why these things don't happen, because it's very daunting. Not only from a leadership standpoint, from the cost, but from the staff concerns about what it means for them. But like Annette said, we've got a relatively new group of people, and they've been very responsive, very willing to dive in. So it'll be different in 2-3 months, and it'll be different even more in 6 months, and by the end of next year, hopefully some of these things will be different. We'll have a different list, but it'll just be different until you get kind of a new norm established.
So what's the projected timeline where they can still be on our payroll, Abdo?
I'd have to go back and look at the actual agreement. Basically, it was a 2025 thing, but I think we can see some things kind of, I would say spilling over, but there's still things to be done.
Right, so there's room for adding to that existing contract, so there's not a lull.
Right.
For
Yeah, and we've had some discussions about that, how to do it, how to look at it, but I don't have anything yet for the budget. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this, the way it came to pass last year, we didn't actually budget for it, other than this is just going to come out of reserves. It's way overdue, and very, very.
I mean, we're not at risk of losing them because we're not losing Abdo because we don't have them tied in.
I don't. Well, we haven't talked about losing them. We've been talking about what to use them for next. And
Correct.
That's just going to be an internal assessment,
right.
As Stacy kind of gets on top of things. But I've had conversations with Stacy. Is that don't hesitate to use them. They're here. They've been doing this. You can't come in and just fix. But let's keep the big perspective, and the Questica is something that she's going to be our in-house expert at. She's about a week ahead of everybody else, but that's how fast it's going. And then, as Annette mentioned, the UKG or Kronos payroll, that finance has taken a very active role in that, because the conversion is an effort when you have software that really doesn't talk well with others. We want to get it right, and we're being very aggressive there with moving payroll. And the plan still is to have the first UKG payroll in October. And if we can do that, then we will have really accomplished something. But the timing wise is, you kind of got to do it before the beginning of the year, but really got to do it before open enrollment, and it'd be it's one of those things, if it drags out, it's just gonna drag out. So let's go.
Yeah. No, I think, you definitely have put a good team together. And I think, like you mentioned that, everybody works well together and that people are actually seeing the change and that nobody feels alone or that they're an island. I mean, that they've got the support that they need to, make everything successful.
But we need everybody.
Hmm.
And, as she said, looking at kind of the responsibilities of all the positions because everything, it's like a big puzzle. It's got to fit together to make it work for efficiency, and it can't overload any one person, whether it's a finance director or someone working the counter or somebody out in solid waste someplace or social services. It's just it's not just something you walk into and just start moving.
No.
But we're going to make it so that that's more doable. We're going from trying to figure out years of how so-and-so did something, how this has been done, to here's how these things work. This is what you do. And software will be a big advantage.
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that the cross training is also on the list. I mean, unfortunately, we found that out the hard way. So
we do what we can do.
Thank you.
She's got about 4 other online meetings. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
okay. Thanks,
Am
Stacy.
I right that auditing will be a lot easier with all of these advancements?
We're gonna make it so it's easier. And the kind of the interesting thing right now is kind of waiting on Colleen. That's not a
it's not normal.
It's not a criticism. That's how much we've gotten together that it's actually there's a mild impatience that we need to get going because we got all these other things to do. But generally speaking, that has not been the sense I've ever had.
No.
The audit will actually be a relevant thing, and the Hoffman firm is viewing it that way. Stacy is certainly viewing it that way, and it's not going to appear, a year and a third after the fact. It's going to be, in time, really, for us to refer to it as we do our budgeting, which is ideal. And there is I think, Annette, you know what I'm talking about here. There's a GFOA certification or award that goes to places that basically have their audits ready for the auditor, and it really means that you've reached a capability of having all your activities prepared so the auditor can come in, do less testing, be more efficient, have it shorter. I would think that would also mean less cost to us to do the audit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That certificate for their audit is something that the county could work for. There is additional information that goes into those in order to get to that certificate. But once everything is cleaned up and you have staff established to really maintain that, it's definitely something that is achievable in the future.
2027, 2028 be a good target for that. So it's just always good to have something out there to work towards achieving.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else for Annette?
No.
No.
Thank you, Annette.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye.
We'll get
Bye.
us back. Oh, gosh.
Okay. Sure. Morning, everybody.
Hi.
Morning.
Where we going? Left, right?
Yeah.
I'm left-handed. I might as well sit on this side.
Horses are waiting. I don't know if you're going left or right. Yep. You guys are short a couple today, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't very considerate. I made too many copies. Yeah. Well, we got extra copies. Oh, sorry.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we started on our flooring project, and like sometimes happen, we ran into a glitch. The flooring underneath we were pulling up the carpet and the tiles that are there. The floor is not staying in place. It's not holding, so it wants to come up. And of course, when it starts coming up, those old tiles from years back have asbestos in them. They got asbestos in the mastic, and they got asbestos in the tile.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1% in the mastic, I believe, and 2 or 3% in the tile. It's not a lot, but it's too much. So we're at. As soon as seeing what was going on, I stopped the project. There's really not much else we can do. We can't continue with without removing the asbestos. So we made some calls, and the abatement cost for this phase one, which would be the yellow, would be that $9,600, and along with that, it puts us back a week. They wouldn't be able to start until August 1st. They'd come in on a weekend, do the work, and then the flooring guys will be rolling in on Monday morning with intent to be rolling out on Wednesday afternoon. I'd say maybe Thursday, early Thursday, so then we can get in there and start putting everything back together for the folks to get back to work. So that'll be for phase one. Phase two, which would be the green area, that would be a few dollars more for abatement costs. I came in at what it runs out. It's $6 a square foot for abatement, and then getting rid of all the material and whatnot. I mean, it's turnkey. So they'll roll in and roll out, and everything's clean and ready to go. So this adding, a little over $20,000 to the project, and so I guess it's something that we got to deal with.
And this is just 96 for phase one.
That's phase one. Yeah, it was
what? They gave you an estimate for phase two.
Yeah, about 11.
Roughly about 11.
It's around $6 a square foot. Yeah.
So are we? We're only gonna phase one, or are we gonna do phase two?
Well, here's with phase one. I mean, if we just do phase one, that falls within the budget that's already been established. If we go to phase two, I'll have to come up with some funds. I can find it in the budget. I mean, it's there. I got it under my repair and maintenance 6565 lines. The money's there. It's just we got to just move it around a little bit if we wanted to continue with phase two, or we push phase two into 26.
So in talking with Rick and Josh a little bit yesterday, part of this is one of the reasons why we're moving as quickly as we were last week is the opportunity presents itself to go do the work. Then of course this gets found, which slows everything down, but it's a working office, very busy people doing things. So at least for now, I wanted to make sure we were briefing you guys on this because we kind of have these variables to contend with that just get done that is at the south part of the area over there because that's really all torn up right now. There's a lot of files. Kind of our discussions have been how to move around files, where to put them, how many do we have to keep, how many can we move downstairs, what's the planning for that. So we weren't really seeing this coming. Sam's gone this week. Stacy and I were both out yesterday morning, so Rick did the right thing. Let's just hold steady and let's try to do what we can do with what we're already doing, and then we'll plan for the rest of it. Because there's just a lot. If you just walk back, you can see how much stuff everybody has. And that's every day. And a little more lead time to work with everybody, so we're not disrupting everything. We can live with what we've got until next year, and then make sure we've got things budgeted and the plan and so forth. We're just trying to take advantage of the fact that the carpeting people were suddenly available
Sure.
a little ahead of time. But now we know this, and I think you're doing some further checking because there's other things to take into account.
And so actually, Chuck had popped in earlier. We were doing some assessment of our own, and one of the guys was moving a piece of furniture there, and he had to cut a piece of the carpet off, which we typically don't like to do if we think there's maybe an issue. But anyway, we cut it out. There was bare concrete. There was no tile. So we figured, okay, great. Well, now this gives us the opportunity to go assess numerous places. That happened to be the only place where it was just concrete. So I mean, we did our due diligence, and it after cutting a few, it appears that at one time it might have been a storeroom before it was remodeled. Hence, there was no tile. In other areas, tile's 3 layers deep. So you get the difference of 3/8 to half an inch, in the rise of the floor where the tile's been built up over the years. So this will give us a clean slate to start with, and then it'll be, we won't have to worry about asbestos for the future. And it's even though it wasn't, there was not enough foresight put into it, it's the right way to go about it at this time.
Is there any other place in the building you think that would have this issue?
Everywhere. These old buildings have asbestos everywhere. So, and this would be a good point for the future, any project that we look at. I mean, it's a learning curve for us too. We really need to do an asbestos assessment before you do any ceiling projects, any flooring projects, any, mechanical room, plumbing projects, because all these old buildings, your doors, the fire retardancy and all these big doors, it's all asbestos. So that's why we got to be so careful. I mean, we can't even go and change out knobs. We don't dare, because the asbestos is everywhere. You got to be very careful.
Again, it's a danger when it's friable.
When it's friable, when
removing tile.
When you remove it, if it's not airborne, it's just fine. And but it's when you start messing with it.
Well, this is going to upset operations for how many days or whatever.
Well, currently we working with Sam Melby and Stacy. The staff has moved to open work areas. One has gone over to the assessor's area. One I think is upstairs, going up to social services. So we're okay there, but that's part of the idea. Let's just contain it to this area. We're affecting then. What's the number?
Meaning phase 1.
Yeah.
Four staff.
Yeah. So we're okay. but everybody will be happy to get it over with.
Mhm.
And I think, if we have to do the abatement, that's the end of next week.
Yep.
So the following week, we get the flooring in, and then it's just a matter of moving back in.
Yeah, so-
Back on. So that first week of August, I think everything will be back up, and at least that's the idea at this point.
And if everything rolls like we'd like it to, I mean, I believe the 8th is Thursday. So
Friday.
what is it?
8th is a Friday.
Friday, 8th. Okay, so our plan is if everything goes perfectly, we'd be able to start setting those cubies and everything back up on the 7th. Hopefully everything is done on the 8th. And I guess if it's not done on the 8th, we stay till it is done. So so for Monday they have offices to come into.
Yeah, there'll be some weekend work, whether it's our guys or the contractor. But that's actually a lot easier than what we've been doing during work hours. So we just wanted to give you an update on it. It happens. We thought we were on to something with the timeliness. It would have been great, but we came across this, so now we got a little bit of an issue to deal with. But we'll get her wrapped up and then take it into account for phase 2 and 3.
Good.
Okay.
No action needed.
No.
Just information.
No, I mean,
More just sort of let everybody know.
yeah, it's got to be done. So.
All right. Thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Yep. Thank you.
Keep moving forward.
Sitting on our hands is enough.
I think that's it, unless the board or commissioners have anything else.
Grab the
I
mouse.
don't think so.
Good.
You don't
So-
meet again until August 5th, I believe, 2 weeks.
Yep. Mhm.
Um,